Om Shanti. First of all, a very warm welcome to everyone for this evening's conversation with three of our most prized and special jewels of the Brahman family. My name is Manda. I'm from the UK and I'm currently based in Oxford at the Global Retreat Centre. And it's my pleasure this evening to engage our senior sisters, our RCOs, into a conversation where we don't just become lost in information and in words. What I would really like to do in this next 45 minutes is perhaps experience those words as a vibration and an energy so that we can take ourselves into an experience here and now, but those words become such power and carry such impact that we are able to use that for our self-progress in the future too. So that's the basis for this evening's conversation. Yesterday, Sister Wadi asked in the gathering how many were in the gathering for the first time in Madhuban, and there were some who put their hand up. So I'm aware that we have a huge variety of experience in the audience, from first-timers to, I see the first row here, of those who've been with Baba for more than 35 years also. And so I would like this conversation to be able to meet the needs of everyone, the first-timers as well as those who've been to Madhuban countless times before. So I think for those of you who may not know everyone on the stage, Sister Mohini is the RCO for United States of America and the Caribbean. And I think Mohini Ben has been with Baba for what, 45, nearly 50 years? 50. Or more than 50 years? 50 years with Baba. And as far as I know, Mohini Ben has a degree in journalism and came to Baba after having attained that or during that time. And we'll go into that a little bit, ask her to share her experiences with Sakar Baba. Then it's Didi Nirmla, who is the RCO for Australasia, and that means Australia, New Zealand, and the Far East. And Dr. Nirmla has also been with Baba for nearly 50 years? 45 years. And she has a very unique and a beautiful story with Baba too, how she came to Baba, qualified as a doctor, and then Baba said, that's it, you can now be a spiritual doctor for everyone. And then Sister Jayanti, who's also been with Baba for nearly 40 years, met Baba at a very young age, at the age of 8 for the first time, I believe, and went to England soon after that. And Sister Jayanti is the European coordinator of Baba's service in Europe, in the Middle East, and I don't know, all sorts of other parts of the world. So I think together we have nearly 150 years of experience of Gyan and Yoga and Baba. So I would like to begin by asking all three of them to relate to us one unique experience that they had with Sakar Baba, so that as we hear that experience, we're also able to emerge our memories of being with Baba in our previous birth, because Baba says that all double foreigners have gone outside of India for this last birth. And so it would be great to be able to go back to being in Bharat, and also perhaps our memory of being with Baba. So maybe Dr. Nirmla can relate first, because she asked me, what was I going to ask? So at least that question I had told her. So maybe she's had a chance to think about it. One unique experience that you cherish until today.
Om Shanti. So one good thing about the organization is it's a family. Mama, Baba, were accessible to each and every one, whoever came to Baba. And when Manda was saying, Baba gave me permission to renounce my medical practice, I would first correct it that Baba never gave me permission to give up medical practice, though as I said that whenever I had any change in my life, I used to go and ask Baba, what should I do? So as soon as I came to Gyan, before I had full faith, first I asked Mama, can I give up my medical practice and be full time in Baba's service? And Mama said, no, check with Brahma Baba. So when I met Brahma Baba first time after about 1.5 years of Gyan, I asked Brahma Baba, I would like to do full time Baba's service rather than spending my time on medical practice. And Baba said, no, you are double doctor, you have to do both medical practice and spiritual surgery or whatever it is. So, first time that was that. Then there were only 2 centers in Bombay, and so Ramesh Bhai wanted few more centers in Bombay. He asked me, can you look for some house in your area so that Baba can have one house in Mumbai?
Baba called you Nirmal Ashram. What did you feel at that time? Why do you think he called you that?
I think I used to accept everything as a natural and normal and not feeling any excited about it. So I took it for granted that that's my name or that's what Baba wants me to call. But I think main thing is Nirmal is also clean and ashram is also pure. So that's what Baba found, those qualities in me, and so he gave me that title.
But also Baba said, I don't remember the exact numbers, if he had 10 Nirmalas, he'd create heaven. How many was it, 10 or a dozen?
30.
30. If he had 30 Dr. Nirmalas, heaven would come when? Tomorrow?
Heaven will come very soon.
That's very powerful. 30 Dr. Nirmalas and heaven would come very soon.
How many we have?
I think heaven hasn't come yet, so maybe we haven't got 30 Kumaris.
Because he didn't find 30 Dr. Nirmalas. Mohini Ben, thank you.
Om Shanti. Whenever one has to answer a question like this, so many thoughts and so many experiences just go through the screen of mind, and sometimes like which one to choose and which one to share takes few moments. So that's what was happening in the screen of my mind. So many beautiful scenes and communication and experiences were emerging. I also just want to briefly relate like my experience with Baba as one who knows our horoscope and also his bestower of fortune. Knowing what our part will be, what my part will be, I should say. From day one I noticed that whatever Baba was saying, he knew what I have to do and what I will be doing. And when I think of that, all the sequences, directions and everything like he knew. One of the main issue for me also was, should I continue my studies or not? And my Lokik grandfather was very insistent that every daughter in the family needs to have some degrees, because he always felt that daughters should have self-supporting way of lifestyle so that they don't go through anything. And on the other side, whenever I asked Brahma Baba, should I continue to study, he said that at that time there were 10 young girls in Punjab and they had just finished school or something, and Baba said, but I want a daughter who should have some advanced studies. So because I have two Lokik and a Lokik grandfather saying both things, so I had to do it and kept on studying for almost 7 years after coming to Baba. But as I said, that Baba knew, so whenever, wherever I am, whatever I am doing, I immediately say that Baba knew I had to do this. That's why maybe the information, the education, whatever little I had to do in Lokik world always had been very, very useful into whatever I have to do, play part also for spiritual service. So I always remember Baba as bestower of fortune, but also one who knows our horoscope. There are two things. One is, some people are very fascinated by light and subtle kinds of things. But my fascination always was to see that there is some meaning and purpose and perfection in the way life is led. Because one of the things I always got turned off from many spiritual leaders was because I didn't see them very oriented, very organized, or anything around them was really like sometimes mess. So when I first time was able to make appointment to see Baba, I had just began my university and Baba gave appointment for 5 in the afternoon. And I went to see Baba, and Baba was in his room. And as you know, that everything was so clean, very simple but very, very clean. And Baba was sitting there, and Baba started, communicating with me. It was such a simple communication, in the sense of Baba wanted to know what subjects I took, what I learned there, and what I learned because I had world history and political science. So Baba started talking like a chat, and as you know that Baba was 83 and I was not even 18 at that time, but there was such a beautiful conversation and that relationship which got created. But also looking at Baba's personality, such a, combination of that spiritually, you can see Baba was so enlightened and into that stage. But also the way he signals, way he gave directions. So it's practical and spiritual was so obvious. And that was actually one of my main attraction, because I always thought learning spirituality should help you to lead a life which is complete. And that's what I saw in Brahma Baba and in organization as a whole, that you're not only a spiritual person, but also whatever you do, so everything in practical also is more of kind of perfection. And then, because I started having some experiences of seeing, divine visions, or what you call, I didn't understand trance at that time. So Baba also came to know that I get these visions. So one morning, Baba asked me to come at 3:45 in his room. And I went in his room and he asked me to sit on his bed. It was very easy at that time to sit cross-legged and nicely, So on the side of the wall, Baba was on the side of the pillow, sitting cross-legged, and I sat on the side of the wall. In Baba's room, you still see that bed. And Baba gave me drishti, so I just went. I didn't know really what trance is, but I used to just get intoxicated. And so after Baba said, you should go and see what is the difference between avyakta, angelic form, and me, this form. And I was very innocent, and so I just, when I came back, I described Baba the difference I saw between him.
You went into trance.
Yeah.
You went into trance.
So I came and I described that his eyes were like little bit more because it was image of light, so there was some difference. And then I saw Santridhari was sitting on that mattress. So he's asking Santridhari, did she reach there? Did you see her there? So Baba had made her sit to verify how far I go. Do I really reach there? Did I talk to Baba, or it was just the vision? Because we used to say some get visions, some get semi-trance, some go in where you can share the message with Baba and bring back. But I still remember that. So then later on Didi said, how could you say this to Baba? In the sense of, when I say, no, there was a lot of difference between him and angelic Brahma. She thought that I should have had more respect, So I said, but he asked me and I just describing. And I'm just saying that it was so interesting. And after that 2-3 times again Baba did that to me. And then there was Santridhari, there was another trance messenger also. And I don't know how many of you are aware, but at that time, when you used to go, like I used to meet other trance messengers going with their tray of bhog. We used to cross each other. this daddy went or this one went. It used to be very interesting. Now I don't see.
You don't see trans messengers going up now with
I
the
don't
train?
see now that traffic, in the sky. But it was very interesting to see later on. But so how Baba personally checked, and then of course, but this whole thing of drishti and personal attention which Baba gave at that time for everything was something really, really, So my first meeting with Baba, but this also experience with Baba sitting on that bed. So when I first time had to come to Madhuban, I asked many, what should be my aim? And they said, Baba used to wake up at 2:30, between 2:30 and 2:45. You should also wake up at that time. And then try to be somewhere around so that you can catch the vibrations. So when I went, Baba said, what's your desire? I said, can I be around 2:30, 2:45? And Baba smiled. He didn't say. He just nodded. And I know that since then, 2:45, my eyes must open, whatever happens, because I just feel Baba is up, 2:45, just be up. And so then Didi said, Baba was saying, she's sensible, but if you go in front of ocean, you don't ask ocean to give something. So she should know that I am ocean. If she will receive everything. She can be around, but she can receive. So many little things he used to tell Didis and Dadis, but because I was very friendly with them from very beginning, so later on they will tell me this what Baba said. And so there were both experiences, very deep spiritual communication, and of course experiencing relationships with Baba in many, many different ways. And his personal care was something which really has touched me. About to leave, who is taking her to station? Did you take fruit? Did you take this? Why? Baba had to ask. So now even, as the Jayanti did, but even in New York, when people are leaving, I find out who is taking, have they taken. They say, but that's not your department. I say, what's the question of department? In Brahma, Baba asked me, so I know what care means, and that's what I will do. You cannot tell me the department is doing it, you don't need to be. So there was lot of learning that how he really cared, and because he cared, there was so much this, feelings of very intimate connection. And so that's why when I hear all this about family care, and I said, well, Baba was the image of that care which he took for each one of you. And one of the things Baba did very much was involvement. From very beginning, in so many things he got me involved, like what has to be cooked and stocks and things like that. As the training began from very beginning, we start showing me so many things. And in Peace Village or everywhere, I just remember this is what Baba had told me, this is what Baba had said. So there was lot of directions from him, lot of learning and lot of training.
Thank you, Mohini Ben. Jayanti Ben, you have an experience that you still cherish with you till today?
Om Shanti.
Two very specific incidents that I'd like to share. And like Mohini was just talking about Brahma Baba's love and care, and I'll just pick up that thread because that was the first story I want to share. And we'd been away in England for a couple of years by then, and it must have been around 1959 or so. And my mother had started Raj Yoga studying properly, but the whole family had met with Brahma Baba in Delhi just before leaving for England. And so the connection with this person, I don't know about God, but this person and personality was very strongly there. And I must have been about 10. And it must have been a Saturday afternoon or something, because we were at home and we were in the garden playing. And the doorbell rang and I went to open it. And it was a postman. And normally the post would just come through the letterbox, but this time he had a parcel. And by then my mother and brother had come, and I said to my mother, can I open it? Because it was a parcel from India, it was exciting. And so my brother and myself opened this parcel, and to my mother's amazement and our delight, it was 6 mangoes, the Bombay Alfonso mangoes that Baba had sent by airmail. And we had 100 relatives in India, uncles and aunts and grandmother, grandfather, all sorts of things. But nobody had thought about these little children sitting far away. And in those days, you didn't fly fruits and vegetables across the oceans. And there was just one Indian shop in the whole of London. Those of you who know London today know that one high street has 20 shops, but in that time just one shop in the whole of London. And even they didn't sell fruits and vegetables from India. But Baba had been in Bombay and had been eating these delicious mangoes. And Baba had suddenly thought of these little children far away and had said to one of the sisters, send these mangoes by airmail to the children. And so why should Baba suddenly think of children just like that? So just an indication of Baba's tremendous openness of heart and remembering even little children who physically at that moment didn't even recognize who he was. And then the experience that actually was my moment of spiritual death and rebirth. And some of you may have heard it, but for some it might be new. But I hope that what we will do is to help you be able to recreate that experience from Baba's Srishti for yourself. And in any one of Baba's rooms, you can go and look into Baba's eyes and you'll be able to have the same experience, I'm sure. And what had happened was that it was night time and Baba had said to come and say good night. It was just earlier in the day that Baba had had a chat with me, and very much Baba again through Kaldarshi, because Baba had asked me, child, what do you want to say? And I'd said, Baba, I want to surrender. And this was after about 2 months of taking Baba's knowledge. And Baba said, Baba knew already. And I remember that Baba had predicted something like this about 3 years earlier when I was meeting Baba without any gyan or meditation or anything. And the memory came back when Baba actually said it. And then Baba had said, come at night. And it was about 10 of us. The place where we now keep our shoes, that was open to the sky. It was a courtyard. And it was June and it was very warm. And Lachu Dadi, who you still see in Pandav Bhavan, was the one who looked after Baba's personal needs. And the bed that you see in Pandav Bhavan in Baba's room is a very light one, just 4 bases, 4 pillars, and just rope and a tiny little mattress on top. So it was very easy to lift and move. So she pulled out Baba's bed into that courtyard just to be in the fresh air. And about 10 of us, all the others were daddies, and then it was myself. And Baba was lying on the bed, the pose of Vishnu that you see
in many of the pictures. And Baba was looking at each one, and I must have been third or fourth in line. And when Baba looked at me, Baba beckoned me across. And I went to Baba, and Baba had by his pillow a bunch of very fragrant, beautiful jasmine flowers. And the scene was a very beautiful one. It was a moonlit night, and so that light was spreading everywhere very beautifully. And the bed had white sheets, the pillow was white, Baba's clothes were sparkling white, Baba's face was sparkling. And as Baba was giving me these flowers, of course the purpose was to give me drishti. And as Baba gave me drishti, I felt as if there was a magnet that was pulling me out of my forehead. And I was seeing not then Baba's face, but just that beam of light in Baba's forehead. And that magnet carried me into a different dimension, a different world. A world of silence, a world of light. And I don't know how long it was, but I had finished with the old world, and Baba had given me a new birth. And when I came back again into the consciousness of this world, and Baba asked the question, does anyone have thought, why is Baba giving her drishti in this way? And I then became aware of, across the other side from Baba was Dadi Jayanti, and her face was like a full moon itself, beaming away. And she just nodded her head, and she'd understood what was happening. And that was it. I had a new birth, and Baba prepared me for a new life. And so certainly from June through till January, until that night that I got the news that Baba had become avyakt, it was possible to have instant yoga, just remembering Baba's face and taking that drishti, and instantly there'd be that awareness of Shiv Baba also, and that connection with God. And then I had to change my method of yoga on the 18th of January, that night after we heard the news. And so for a few months then I had to learn to focus just on Shiv Baba. I couldn't think of Brahma Baba's face for quite a while. But after that, then things again healed, and again today, if I just think of Brahma Baba's face, it's not just this human being, but very much as Baba shares in the Murali. How do you experience the mother and father? It is through this one. And so Baba's drishti is able to help me connect very, very powerfully with Baba. And so I know you'll say that, but we didn't have the fortune of seeing Sakar Baba. But I think that Baba said something very beautiful, that Baba has made himself even more available because he has left the limits of the physical world and is now in the subtle dimension. And so Baba is available, and just, especially in Madhuban, go in any one of Baba's rooms, whichever campus it is you're on, and take drishti from Baba, and you'll connect with Shiv Baba also.
Thank you, Jayanti. Actually, that really brings me to the next question that I did want to ask, because it was a conversation that a few of us were having this morning. On the one hand, I think most people sitting here haven't met Sakar Baba. And on the one hand, it's very easy to say, okay, you can go to Baba's room and take drishti from Baba, and you will experience Baba because he's become unlimited. But I think that the one thing that most people would say is that they do struggle. They do struggle with trying to make that connection with Baba. And the one thing that we want so dearly is to be able to experience Baba right there before our eyes, in front of us. And so, how do you experience Baba in the daytime, as you do things, as you maintain your awareness or consciousness, what is it? How do you experience him, and what is it that you do that makes Baba a reality in your lives now? And in what way do you experience? Perhaps it's a big question, but that's okay. Perhaps if you can just give us clues of how we can feel. Perhaps sometimes we feel actually, but we still don't even know that we're experiencing Baba, because our perception of what it means to experience God is something very different. Anybody who feels wants to answer.
For me, to experience that presence is when I am doing something, when I have to decide and then do something, and whatever I have to decide and do has to be based on Baba's teachings, like what Baba had said and how Baba has done and taught us. So when you are doing that, so first connection which I am making is reminding myself that what really Baba's knowledge is teaching me, what is the principle or its remembrance, or so that's where actually I start feeling that presence. And when I feel that presence, mostly because I find that if you really want to, be progressing and all that, you always have to remind yourself that I have to exactly do what Baba, the way Baba is asking me to do. So you are connecting with Baba by thinking that.
But this is the trap actually. And the trap is that we become too heady. We use Gyan, and so the intellect is fired up. And so this feeling gets missed out because we get caught up in the head.
But I don't see that way, because I don't see that I'm using my intellect actually. But it's like I am using that truth which Baba has. And truth is more connected to the heart than head. So it's not using like, okay, just saying it's drama or whatever it is. One is to use knowledge that way. But I use the word teachings. I didn't say knowledge. Why I said teachings? Because teachings are like, that this is what God has taught me. This is the truth and this is what He wants me to do. So when you keep thinking what Baba is saying, what Baba wants, how Baba has taught me. But of course, as you were mentioning that one scene which comes, and like also Jayanti mentioned that for me, I bring Baba's eyes, drishti, in front of me so often, whether to see my own self or self-respect or clarity. I know that most of you haven't met Brahma Baba, but when I met Avyakt Babdada, and even now I am fortunate to get drishti from Avyakt Babdada, there is no difference. Even Brahma Baba's eyes were not wide and, as Dadi Gulzar says, but at that time, it's just the same Father is there. And it's such a beautiful feeling of whether Shri Baba came in Brahma Baba or now he comes, there is really no difference into when you take drishti. And I also bring Baba's drishti lot in front of me, or like I feel that way. But also for me, because I've seen Brahma Baba doing things in so many different ways, like Baba had this regular, like he will walk in that courtyard or going in the kitchen and he will watch, he will observe, but he will never say anything. It was so beautiful that one time he was walking in the courtyard and somebody was carrying something, and his attention maybe went to Baba or something, or so everything fell from his hands. So those who were around, naturally, it's very easy for people to make comment. You always do that. Look how much loss you brought to Yagya, And Baba just passed from there. And I realized what Baba was doing at that time was giving light and might to the soul. Baba was just giving sakash to that soul instead of making that soul more nervous or something like that. So that emerges so often in my mind that every soul at this time really needs his light and might. Different methods, but I feel I use a lot of Baba's teachings, and then that helps me to feel that this is where, Baba's presence is there.
Thank you. Nirmla, you want to say anything about it?
three ways we can keep Bap Dada in our awareness, feeling or vision. Because some people are visual, so they visualize Avet Bap Dada, Brahma Baba and Shiv Baba, or Shiv Baba alone. So one is that awareness, one is feeling, because most devotees who have done a lot of devotion, they already had that feeling for God, so it's just to be transferred to Bap Dada. And awareness that what's my life for? This is what I usually have, more awareness. What is my life for? Because I have given my life to Yajna, Brahman family, or Baba's task. And so this awareness all time, what is the purpose of my life, is always there with me. And so right from morning I had this feeling that yes, this is my life and this is what Bap Dada has told me. So when I look at anybody, it's like these are Bap Dada's family, this is Bap Dada's organization. So whatever I am doing, this deep awareness is there, that who I belong to, what my purpose of life is, and naturally that helps me to be in link with Bap Dada. And naturally when we are sitting in front of, whether it's this picture or in Baba's room, whichever picture we have, there is that natural, easy awareness of Bap Dada's divine activities that Bap Dada has done. Or throughout the day we think about whatever Baba's teachings are, through Murli, through personal meeting or whatever it is. So that helps us to be in touch with Bap Dada all the time. So my personal connection is mainly with Bap Dada, both together, and I have this deep awareness of my purpose of the life.
Thank you. Gentlemen?
I found that two things help me enormously. I often emerge the beautiful memories of experiences in Madhuban, whether it's with Baba, whether it's of special places in Madhuban, whether it's of the Dadis. And so that instantly uplifts me and makes me feel very close to Baba. But the second thing is, when I read the Murli in the morning before I read it in class, I find that in that quiet time when I'm reading the Murli, and then of course in class it gets underlined, but there's always some very beautiful gems that I'll be touched by, and it'll be those things that will stay with me through the day. And it's not a question of just churning or reflecting, but it'll be something beautiful that's touched me, and so it'll keep coming back. And so that'll again remind me of who it is who's shared those jewels with me. And so that keeps me with Baba.
Thank you. I've known the three of you for nearly 28 years now, and I know that each one of you have very unique qualities and specialities, and the way, how it is that you make a contribution in service. But I would like to know, what is it that you make a priority in your life for yourself on a daily basis? What is a priority for you, for yourself? Because your life is for Baba, your life is for the entire Brahman family, and I see this. You don't have a moment to do anything else. But still, within that, what do you make a priority for yourself in your life? After 50 years with Baba, 45 years with Baba, 40 years with Baba.
I'll begin since it's connected with something I was just saying. So the two priorities for me are the Amrit Vela time with Baba. And when I first came to Baba, it was instantly very, very powerful in the way that I've described. But then through the years, it would be sometimes tiredness coming in, sometimes other things. The discipline. I remember once talking to Avyakt Bapdada, and this must have been in the 80s during a time of intense service activity, like not just 18 hours, 20 hours a day. And Baba said to me, even if you feel sleepy, that's okay, but get up and sit with Baba. And so it gave me permission. It didn't give me permission to be dozy, but it was like Baba was accepting whatever the situation was and saying, I'll be there for you, I'm still here for you, come to me. And so it then became a priority for me to sort out my timetable and really make Amrit Vela my priority a few years ago, when I decided that this really was the time that I wanted to take power and all the treasures that Baba was offering. And so that has become now a very, very special time for me again. And I shared a little bit earlier about the time when I read the Murli to myself. And it's a very beautiful time of silence. I know that in my situation, the telephone is going, and sometimes there may even be other activity, but yet still, it's a time when the mind is very easily pulled into the depth of the treasures that Baba wants to share. So wherever it is I am, whether there's a class or not, but the time of reading Murli is very precious.
I definitely give myself few times a day some kind of study,
Some kind of?
Some kind of study, like
Study.
I will read some points, or I will, of course I read every day that is Jayanti's class, whenever, even if I get night time, I will read it. So there is a lot of attention on churning and study, but also self-improvement and self-transformation is lot my focus. Because I feel that if you say something same way, thinking that other is not responding, I feel maybe one should think to say in a different way. And I enjoy whole day this process of self-transformation and self-progress. And that lot of joy comes from there, because like if you go somewhere and say, oh, you are always like this, and that person says you're going to say anyway, So every time you want to keep everyone inspired and full of enthusiasm. And I feel that when there is attention on self-transformation and self-progress all the time, then, internally you are very busy, but also there is lot of happiness and contentment.
Thank you.
For me, the priority is Amrit Vela, Murli, and evening yoga also, 7 to 7:30. If possible, I try to sit in that meditation also. So I try to not miss the three things, wherever I am, whatever I am doing. Apart from that, for self, I keep a balance of looking on a spiritual level as well as physical level, so that I am physically also healthy.
Thank you. My sense is, after all this time still, one of the aspects that we fail on is lack of self-respect. And it manifests in both ways. Lack of self-respect manifests as ego, and it also manifests as inferiority complex, or whatever you'd like to call it. So what I would like to ask is that whilst having lack of self-respect, whilst practicing to fill ourselves with all that Baba is giving to us, how can we learn to deal with that lack of self-respect and fill ourselves at the same time, so that we don't fall into the trap of of our negative self each time?
I think that once you know your own self based on what Baba has given introduction in the sense of who you are and then what part you have and Sudarshan Chakradhari. I think just reminding yourself of that elevated self, that I am not just a soul, but I am that elevated soul and I am that ancestor soul. And if it really has touched you and you believe in that it's true, then you have to just keep reminding yourself all the time that this is what I am. I am elevated soul. I am the one who has to, play the part of transforming the world. So bringing all that into awareness, definitely, and the respect which Baba gave to me, I have to give that respect to my own self. Because sometimes you can have overconfidence or sometimes you can underestimate. But if you just look at the way Baba look at you, the respect which Baba gives you, what Baba talks about you and your part, I think that keeps us, to me, you stay into very, very naturally in that elevated self-respect.
Jayanti?
I think we haven't spent enough time in silence getting to know ourselves. And when we do spend that time and we see who we are, then nobody can take away that respect that you have for yourself, and also you don't then need others to be giving you respect. You're stable in your own inner dignity. And so we forget about making time, not just for yoga, but just to be able to go very deep into silence in the self. And I find that if you're taking traffic control seriously, I know here even in Madhuban sometimes the traffic control music is coming and you're doing something and you don't necessarily stop, or maybe physically you stop but your mind doesn't stop. But if you take traffic control seriously and really just go into that inner silence and connect with your own inner being, then yes, that is going to be a way in which you maintain your own dignity.
What one needs to do is not compare ourselves with other people, because that sanskar of comparing and competition is sometimes so deep that we compare ourselves and feel not good enough or something. So rather than that, I would suggest that one should take titles that Baba has given us, churn it, and feel that that's me, rather than thinking intellectually that that's what Baba says for us or me or for somebody else. Because sometimes knowledge stays only in our intellect rather than having a feeling, and that's where one has to really take the titles that Baba is giving us. And especially every day Baba gives us some title, if nothing else, you are sweet, lovely children, long lost and now found. So, or take different titles at different days and churn and become the embodiment, or feel that that's for me. That will help us to maintain that self-respect.
Thank you. It's nearly 7:05. Should we stop for meditation or take one more question? Stop for meditation? Does anybody have a burning question they'd like to ask?
No.
No?
They want to meditate.
Okay, one question I will ask, and whoever wants to answer it can answer it. And it's about spiritual authority. Baba talks about being a spiritual authority, and it somehow seems to be in human nature. They like having authority, and often either authority of a position or a role, and then that really becomes a negative authority. How do I differentiate between spiritual authority, which allows me to do everything that I have to do, that Baba wants me to do, and in service with that spiritual authority, rather than the authority of a position or, ego or role or whatever else?
To me, two words come in my mind because I don't necessarily relate to word authority much because I feel you have to be, you are a being, so what's the question of authority? And then when you are in that being, and second is experience, because being and the experience are natural authorities. And being and also, when you are being, there is this power, and I think that someone said very nicely that sometimes that could also look like authority but that authority is not abusive, that authority is not where you hurt anyone, that authority is not something you forcing someone. But for me, authority is your experience and authority is being. And more we are in that, people will still feel like you have authority, but they will see it in a very positive way.
When there is that awareness, I am instrument, so then that balance of being instrument and authority, balance of sweetness and discipline or strictness, that will help us, because if there is no soul consciousness with that body consciousness, that this is my role and I am the coordinator and I have to see that everybody is right and all, if that awareness is there, I consciousness, then naturally that ego or forceful nature will come. But when there is that awareness that this is Baba's authority, I am just instrument here to look after that Baba's service is done in a proper way.
That's useful. Gentlemen?
It was a subject I was reflecting on earlier today with a group of teachers who are here. And the most important thing for me is that if you think about people you know who carry that spiritual authority, I think most of you here had the good fortune of being with Didi. Now just emerge that awareness of Didi and you instantly get a picture of what is meant by spiritual authority. No type of external authority, but the spiritual authority came from two things: a huge amount of purity, total purity, and also the total state of humility and sweetness and love. Connected all those things. But for us again, how do I get to that stage? And the technique, the method that Baba is showing us is first to regain mastery over the self. In the world out there, authority means authority over others, or it's interpreted as control, or it's experienced as control in that way. But in spiritual authority, it begins inside. When you start practicing that state of mastery over your own feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, your own sanskars, being able to manage those, and to whatever extent that becomes a reality in your life, and that cleanliness is there, that purity comes, to that extent there will be that inner state of dignity and authority, which will reflect in the way that you share with others, and there will be a contentment with the self, and others also will experience contentment in their relationship with you. And where there isn't that mastery and authority of the self, then of course it gets into issues of control, or my and mine, and likes and dislikes. But the inner authority of the self, the mastery, leads to a total contentment, and it comes from purity and that love.
Thank you very much, all three of you. I think everybody has taken little something, am I correct?
जीवन हमारा बना दिया।